Hi, the constituency I am in is Warrington North, which is not far from Runcorn and HELSBY constituency. How will the by-election go? It's hard to say. Labour might hold on to the constituency by the skin of its teeth. I'd like to think that Reform will win it by a landslide. Runcorn is an area of poverty. There are pockets of prosperity, new house building, and like a lot of the post-industrial north, it has its fair share of problems. They're using a hotel in the area, the Lord Daresbury part of the Britannia Hotels Group, which is making a fantastic amount of money. They're housing asylum seekers. We're seeing them in Warrington, we're seeing them in Runcorn, and I do know from people who work for the National Health Service, they do get priority. In a funny kind of way, you understand why. If you need a translator, you don't want them all day earning bucket loads of money. You probably want them in the morning, so you'd want the same group of people to be seen by a doctor within an hour, so that you only pay that translator, say, an hour's work. But it's like anything else, whether it's hotels, catering, whether it's renovations, whether it's translation work, and of course legal aid, lawyers. It's an industry. It's a big industry. There are large areas of the north where there is post-industrialisation. For some reason in the 1970s and 80s they decided to permit large numbers of people from third world countries to areas such as Bolton, Bury, Rochdale, Oldham, to Bradford, Doncaster, Rotherham, and the list goes on. These are towns that are associated with the infamous gangs. Now we're seeing Serco purchasing property, and it's no coincidence that large numbers of properties in this country have been purchased by Chinese, by investors. They've bought the properties, many of those properties in London, but especially in Birmingham, Warrington, Manchester, Liverpool, many of which are empty. They are investments, and Serco want to buy from these people the properties. If they can't buy them, they will rent them. They'll rent them for up to 5 years, where they will accommodate these people. This will only cause resentment in places where there is huge unemployment, poverty, homelessness, where there are all kinds of social problems. On the one hand, how would somebody who comes from a different culture feel and fit in? But more importantly, what about those people who've been waiting for housing? The people that are still living at home, where families are on top of each other, where families bicker and argue because people haven't got their own individual space, they haven't got their own privacy. What about those people who are in hostels and in bed and breakfasts who are in violent relationships, many of them women with kids? They would do anything to get out of their violent relationships and put up with, for example, accommodation like a hostel for, say, a couple of weeks. But no one should have to live in a hostel forever. We either need houses because we have homeless people, we have kids still living at home, we have people who are key workers who can't live near where they work, even in big cities like London, and have to communicate on dirty, slow trains. As far as I'm concerned, we either do have a housing crisis or we don't. If we have a housing crisis, by all means build, renovate, convert buildings, but they should be for our own people. We should not be building houses for future migrants or for those that are here. If you'd like me to do a video on my solution to the boats, please ask me and I'll do that as someone who works for the Home Office. My solution is simple. Some people might say, well, it's too late. I don't think it is. Even if it's the 11th or the midnight hour, it's not too late because we can do something about it. Anyhow, I hope that there is change tomorrow. We can't believe anything that Starmer says. He couldn't tell us what a woman was. Now, because the court says so, he can tell us. Even now they're beginning to question the whole green agenda. Maybe in 6 months' time he'll pretend that he never supported it. Maybe in 12 months' time, when he realises that more and more Labour councillors and in future by-elections they're losing, he might say that he's always been against illegal immigration or the Human Rights Act. Anyhow, if you know people who live in the area, tell them they've got to get off their behind, because they're not only saving Runcorn and HELSBY, they're saving the rest of this country.